Hi, welcome to Mesh to NURBS Pro Workflow Part 4. I'm Graham Bullock from learningalias.co.uk. Here we're looking at an exterior mesh. This one is used in interviews, so it's a real interview mesh, a situation that you might find yourself in. Some companies like to give you a mesh to surface an interview to see how proficient you are. So you need to learn to do it well and to do it quickly. Here we're looking at the evaluation shader, and this is the surface for the roof, the first surface, and as you can see it occupies the same space as the mesh, so it's completely within tolerances. It's actually modelled down to within 0.5 of a millimeter. So that's what we're going to do in this video, so let's get started. The mesh transparency is over here, so we can turn that up and down as required. As you can see, my roof surface is overbuilt. It comes beyond this line here, which is the edge of the roof screen and rear screen set. It's where it's the tangent point where those three surfaces meet are met by blends. Now, if I hide my surface, you can see I've got two construction points which are there just to put them where I believe that the roof is going to end, the edge of the roof, and then I've made a simple degree 3 curve, and I've also used this, which is evaluation shader, Prince Max. You can turn it up to get an indication of where the roof surface boundary will be. You can see it's about there, and then we're ready to start, I think. So I'm going to turn that off. So I've got a helper curve, I've got two construction points, which is just where I feel that I would like to join my surfaces. This one, maybe I've gone a bit too far forward because I'm going to be asking the surface to do a lot there, to bend a long way. I could have put it about here, but I'm thinking ahead, and I know that I'm going to probably put a blend in between these two surfaces, the screen and the roof, so that's my reasoning for doing that. I'm going into F5, and without any further ado, come over here and in surfaces get the plane, and you want that plane or surface to be set at degree 3, and then curve snap it to the edge of the mesh. Don't bring it in here, make sure it's at the edge of the mesh on the center line of the car. And then it's quite a good idea at this point to check using the grid that it is actually the center of the car, and as you can see it's a good job we checked because it isn't. So the mesh, you see, is in the correct place there. So it's a rough old mesh. This is quite common. So what you get in off the scanner, the optical scanner. Now let's move that then. So we know we've got it at the right height because we snapped it to here. Now we've just moved it over to the center line, to the Y0 plane. Let's scale it then. I'm going to overbuild it just a touch from this line, and then I'm going to scale it in this direction and move it to get it where my construction points are. So you don't need these construction points. I might include them in the mesh that I send, but if not, you can work that out for yourself. Okay, let's put the controls on, see what we've got. We haven't got many CVs to work with, and probably, you see, because we've got variation in the roof here, you know, we're not going to get down to the mesh with those two hulls. We're not going to have enough. If we bring this hull down here, slide it, we're going to have a flat spot in the middle which we can't control. So we need more degrees. You can see here that it's the V direction, so come over to Control Panel, U, V, and up that to degree 5 and hit the space bar. And then transform CV, we need hull and slide. So grab that and that actually. We're going to slide those two. Now over to symmetrical modelling now. So it's Object Edit, Symmetrical Modelling. Make sure you've got that plane there showing you that you're in symmetrical modelling mode and these little blue circles here. I'll show you something now to we're going to be doing a lot in this video. We're going to come up here to History and Suspend Rebuilds. Now we're going to slide those hulls to where we need them on the model, which is nearer to the edge of the roof. About like that. So those two hulls are going to help us to capture that acceleration. And then I have to ask myself if it's worth moving that row back a bit, and I think the answer is yeah. I'll move it back a little bit to there. Now the other side of the model hasn't updated, as you notice, so that we can work much more quickly and don't have to wait for the model to update, because it takes a long time to update if you're using a fairly small computer, as a lot of my students are, and also if you're using this deviation map that uses a lot of processors. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to go here and put rebuilds back on, and you see the model updates. But we'll be doing that in more sort of detail later on. So go into F8 and we're looking at our surface, and as you can see it's nowhere near the mesh. Turn the grid off and we're going to bring it down to these points. Let's start by, a method that I like to use is I assign a blue shader to the surfaces and it's the default shader, so I don't have to assign it, but I assign a yellow shader to that, so to the mesh. So let's do that. Go into shade. You can use quick shade if you've got a small computer. Now we need hull and NUV, and then the sensitivity, probably put it in the middle there, and start pulling down the surface, and do things kind of together. Don't try to do everything with one CV or one hull. Okay, so I want to see the mesh just like that, and then I'm going to start pulling down the surface at the ends, and as I pull it down I have to lift that up and pull this one down. Actually I don't need to be looking at the mesh at all, so I'm going to just turn off the mesh transparency completely. You can see that with a few years experience these jobs can be done quite quickly. It's never easy, but okay, that's I think that's the maximum we can achieve by moving CV hulls. So the next thing to do is go to moving individual CVs. I'm going to start here. So as you move part of your surface down, you're going to have to move another part of it up. So you imagine that from these CVs you have elastic bands. So for example, from that CV there you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 elastic bands, or coming down here, pulling the surface. So as you move that CV, you're not affecting that point beneath it, you're affecting the whole area there. So it's a good way to kind of try to visualize what we're actually doing. Just want to show you something there. When you get this kind of triangulation, it's where you have almost perfect matching of the two surfaces in world space, the mesh surface and the... Right, now my mouse is far too coarse. I've gone to 100 there on the mouse sensitivity, and I think that's as far as the, you know, much as we can achieve with the shader method. So the next thing to do is turn off shading and go to the deviation map. In the in video it's part 1 to 3, you will have seen this tool. So I'm going to work with acceptable distance of 1 mm and ramp distance of 2 mm. So I pick the surface, hit the space bar, pick the mesh, hit the space bar, and there I am. And look, wow, I'm within my 1 mm, apart from that tiny little bit there. So when you get to this degree of closeness, you must use the nudge keys. You can't use the mouse anymore. And if see, we've got a memory issue there. I've stopped hitting the space bar and it's still updating. So blue tells me that we need to go up. If it was red or orange, it means we have to go down. I'm going to go up there a bit. Okay, now that's kind of a good start. And you have to check these things several times, and I can see what's happening. If I go to F5, that because we brought it down with NUV, it's also moved in, so we need to do a bit more work there. It's not too bad here and here, but what I'll do is I'll straighten the hull. So I go to Surface Edit and straighten your hulls, and then you know, this is skewed, so we've got to use slide hull, and we'll grab it there and we'll skew that round to there. And now I'm starting to think about my curve, and I want to be, you know, near to my curve, not smack bang on it right at the moment, but close to it. Alright, that's about it. Now go back into F8, individual CVs in NUV, and we can see that those two CVs there, you know, it's red. I'll bring it down just a touch. I'm using the mouse because it's a long way away, and as soon as we get to that condition, I don't need that CV active, so just select one CV and a little touch there, and then when I get very close, I've got the option of using the nudge key. So that's that end of the surface sorted. This end, I've got to go up. I'm going to use the mouse very gently. That's okay, isn't it? And here I'm going to go up as well. So that's the surface to within 1 mm in real time. I haven't cut the video. I've done it exactly as you've seen it live, and that's how long it takes for an experienced modeler to surface a roof panel. If it's the first time you've done it, expect it to take you a lot longer, maybe an hour easily. You know, it's not easy. You need a lot of experience, but with practice you'll get there. Just to finish up this video tutorial, I want to show you, this is the tool. The acceptable distance is 1. That's the distance you're going to be asked to work to in industry, and if you go for an interview you might be asked to surface a mesh, and would be a tolerance of 1 mm. But I want to show you that my model is actually probably closer than that, so let's just, I don't know, but let's see if it is. So if I go to 0.8, you'll see it starts to show deviations, and if I go to 0.6, you know, it's still quite good. And if I go to 0.5, which I often do model to, you'll see that it's still quite good. Now let's just model it very quickly into 0.5 millimeter tolerance, so that you know that it can be done. You've seen it done. So there's the pick CV, individual CV and NUV, and I know I'm going to move those two this time, and I know I'm going to move that one and that one. So I pick all the ones that I know I'm going to move, and then I'm going to just nudge key, and now I am going to move just that one CV. So that's all now to within 0.5 millimeter, and we know that these two have got to come up. And as I said before, when you move something up, you're probably going to have to move something down. So there it is then. That's the mesh surfaced. Bring it up again to within 0.5 millimeter, and it didn't take long. So I think that's enough for part 4. I hope that you've enjoyed the video and that you found it educational, and thank you very much for your time.